Well, Craig, thanks for meeting me back here. Obviously, I left you here this morning. It's a little bit more of a different set. First of all, what I want to do in this interview, because usually when we speak, it's a race to a joke and no actual questions or conversation is had. It's just basically me and you just trying to be more outrageous than the other. So I was going to try and speak like a human.
Well, we are sober for this one, unfortunately.
I know. Well,
A little
yeah, a little bit. You are competing in a couple of days, and this time it's against. I saw him downstairs, an older gentleman, but someone who's quite good at grappling. So I assume you wanted to at least pretend you care about this one.
Well, I mean, the way I see it is, even if I do a full camp, I'll get tired and lose if it goes too long. So if I get on and party before, I've only slightly reduced my likelihood of winning.
Yeah.
Because either way, I'm still going to get tired and lose eventually.
And it's also nice, I imagine, for you to have an inbuilt excuse as to why you lost. If you trained properly and lost, fuck. But if you're doing the gear and whatever on before, it's like, it's not your fault.
I mean, it's totally accurate. If I lose on Sunday, I blame you for Mexico.
Okay. Well, we didn't even, that was where we left it there. Earlier today, I went to a no-gi class, if you can believe such a thing. And there was this kid there who I remember when he joined the gym a couple of years ago, and he wasn't very good. And then I haven't been to the gym for a while, and I went and rolled with him today, and he essentially manhandled me and tapped me a lot. Have you ever been tapped by someone that made you want to reconsider every decision you've ever made?
That shocks me considering the healthy lifestyle you've been leading this entire time.
I know. It's funny, I actually text someone else being like, can't believe it. And he was like, you can't believe that? Really? With the things
You
do?
said he was 14, right?
He was actually in his teens. I don't know if he was, I don't know if he was 14, but he was a younger man. Do you ever get the anxiety the day after? You seem like a man who's so confident in his own decisions and his choices that I can't imagine the next day you get that wave of like, oh my God, fuck, like what the rest of us do.
I keep it together pretty well. I use more substances such as Valium, Xanax. Those type of things will really reduce your next day anxiety.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, how did Heath Ledger die? Why would he risk it? Because he wants to sleep and have no anxiety the next day. It's totally worth it.
Yeah. And you have a lot in common with Heath Ledger, Breakback Mountain, everything. It's like your favourite movie and all that stuff.
We had the same breakout performances. Just mine was a bit lower budget.
Yeah, I see the Vaseline next to you. With this matchup, I hate talking about actual serious stuff with you, but like fucking may as
Heath
well.
Ledger's not serious?
Well, why so serious?
I set that up.
Yeah, okay, well, I thought I was being clever. With the Fight Pass stuff, do you think it's like a potential new, because obviously you've made your love for flow grappling like so well known and everything, and I saw your video the other day where their payment for the winners has stayed the same, whereas the sport's grown.
Well, technically, due to inflation, the 80cc prize money is diminished. $10,000 is worth less today. But I didn't want to rub it in that bad, but I think I will now.
Yeah, I like that though, because that's really corporate, and I'm a big fan of corporate America. It's why I moved here, and I like the idea that people can work harder but get less. It's like when Wendy's said they were going to do dynamic pricing, so you're paying more for the same thing. I like that about this country.
They obviously, Wendy's deserves it. Flow grappling doesn't, I don't think. Us athletes don't either.
Do you think the Fight Pass is, well, if you guys aren't going to unionize, you get what you get. The
average grappler couldn't spell union.
Yeah. To be honest, Craig, if you and I had to really put our money on it, do you look at this Fight Pass thing as like, oh, this is potential like genuine new avenue for this sport to grow? Because obviously the Fight Pass vehicle is so much bigger than a lot of these other platforms. Do you think, okay, also they let you be yourself a little bit, it's more of a chance to promote yourself. Obviously they didn't love the Bill Cosby joke.
No. That apparently got voted down unanimously.
Yeah, weird that. But you did get to advertise nose beer and basically start this whole second part of your career gimmick on the Fight Pass thing.
I like just seeing what I can get away with. Fight Pass is like a massive, I mean, they're attached to UFC, so it's a massive brand. And obviously they can be very conscious of what they allow to be put out there, and I like the idea of just sneaking things through that maybe the team doesn't quite understand what I mean.
There's a language barrier when it comes to like some of the stuff.
Someone in the production realized when I said nose beer is what it meant, because they shut the Chiesa post-match interview down then and there.
I wonder how quick they are finger on the button for this one.
I mean, I'm only doing this for an opportunity to say some shit afterwards.
Yeah,
you know?
because also I haven't known each other that long, but you strike me very much as the person of like, oh, this is the line. Well, I'm going to try and get it over here. Like how far can you push it?
Obviously we're not going to talk about heroin post-match interview. You
No.
know? Unless, obviously, if I lose, potentially. that'll be a more suitable drug for the occasion of a loss. But in terms of, I'm going to see what I can get away with in broadcast. They're going to be ready, though.
Yeah. Do you think they look at you as the person that pushed this new thing? Obviously, like Gordon's the guy and everything, but I feel like they like you and they like the fact that you're different and a bit of a... The amount of people who I've spoken to have like, oh, we wish you were in MMA because you're such a character. Do you think they view you the same way?
I wonder, yeah. I think they just like thinking, hey, let's let this guy do whatever he wants to do, and we'll just fucking pull him up every now and then.
Yeah.
I think they like that. Because, I mean, you look at the rest of the card, some of the most boring human beings on earth. I don't even know a thing about them, you know?
I mean, you're talking to, I don't know, any grapplers apart from you and half your team.
They're all much more accomplished than me, but...
I did hear, actually, like you were talking about, you're breaking down the card on your YouTube channel. El Segundo podcast. Recommend it. Should check that out. That's what you do in the YouTube space, mate. You collab. You push each other.
That's true.
It's good. But I saw you breaking down Mason Fowler and the guy he's competing against.
Yeah.
They've both beaten you.
Both beaten me, but both lower on the card. That's the video.
That's the real win.
Because they got terrible gay jokes.
That's it, right? See, this is what I mean. You know, I don't want to say we're thriving in that area, but essentially that is.
I thought you were nervous to interview me. You're actually nervous at the size and girth of this weapon I'm holding.
It's like, it's got a little plug in it. Don't turn the fucking... I always have to see, when me and Dan do those pub talks, like there have been times where like I've been pretty drunk when we've done them, and then I'll just proceed to keep drinking after them. So I have to watch them about 40 times the next day to be like, did a slur get in there that we don't need? What career damning thing could end up?
Edit it out, yeah. I mean, I am firmly of the opinion I can say whatever I want and people will be like, oh, he meant to say that, he's joking.
Well, so this is the thing. So obviously we have props with us. And I called a friend of mine. I was like, this is funny, right? And he was like, I don't know. It's like, you know, you guys have alluded to weird jokes in the past. You're kind of just hitting the nail on the head. And I thought, if it was anyone other than Craig, it wouldn't be funny. It would be weird. But I think you have really reached a point where you can say and do anything you want.
If it was Lovato, it would be really funny. And nothing was said because he's a very serious character.
Yeah, he saw you just then. He was genuinely asking you about the pit, about the canvas and everything like that. I think...
The best part about the pit is, like, people think I put a lot of thought into it. Like, when I got to the venue the day before, they said, hey, feel free to jump in the pit and feel it out. Like, I was just like... I looked down and I was wearing shoes and socks and I thought, I don't even want to fucking take my shoes and socks off and have to put them back on. Just to experience the canvas and what it's like. So I just didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I would say, and I enjoyed your podcast with Phil you did after it, I would say out of the two of you, you were drinking tequila and doing everything else before the match. And he wasn't. So I think you taking it serious was never in question.
No. I mean, I think 1.5 drinks before a match is probably a good amount.
I mean, I heard you before this podcast say you were statistically undefeated.
That's true.
On certain things.
I'm inebriated. I'm undefeated in grappling matches. I think it's 4-0 now.
I love it because people don't believe you. But
Yeah,
I've been there. I've seen it.
You've been in the cubicle. You've seen it take place.
Yeah.
I want to know who else has taken the UFC Apex bathrooms by storm like myself.
I fucking can tell you that. I can't tell you their name, but I've been in there and the crowd are in there. And there was one time there was a guy who was in his boxers and a bathrobe, a Versace bathrobe, just walking around the Apex with sunglasses on. And I would probably wager my own life that he was tripping to the bathroom quite often. That was one that I remember seeing. And I remember even pointing him out, being like, security just gonna... He paid $1,000, I guess, to be in here. But
He's allowed to do it, yeah.
That's the sight you see at the
Apex.
Apex. And I'm sure actually some of the power slaps have been held there. I'm sure there was...
They must have to do it before competing. You'd have to.
There's a power slap... why didn't you come to the next one? I sound like Dana now. Well, why didn't you come? It's on the same week as UFC 300.
My arm could be twisted.
Yeah, I think that'd be amusing. Where are you flying to on Monday after your grappling?
Kazakhstan. Back to Kazakhstan.
I'm going to Miami. Which one of us has it better?
That's a good point. I almost was going to go to Miami, but business calls in Kazakhstan, you know?
Yeah. What time is your flight? This isn't even podcasting now. Now I'm curious about who's got it worst.
8:36 a.m. But it is also probably close to a 40-hour journey.
Mate, that's so grim. Will you sleep? Do you have first class?
Nah, but here's the way I see it, right? If you have enough Xanax, it is first class.
I keep... See, I've never really experimented with the Xanax.
You haven't?
Not really.
Me neither. I mean, just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Just every night, yeah.
It's the only way the nightmares stop.
Yeah, that's part of my sleep routine. Some people put the night mode on. Some people turn off their phone. Some people deep breathe. I just take more drugs.
You can't even deep breathe the night the septum's so gone.
Nostrils are clear tonight.
Do you feel do you think your carefree attitude to the grappling helps you compete? Like, do you, when it's like a serious competition, do you act like this, or is this because I'm pretty confident the guy's 40, I should be okay?
It's a part of the routine. Some people try to intimidate their opponents by being tough. I try to intimidate them by creating a level of performance anxiety where they think, this guy's fucking drunk.
Yeah.
I can't lose to this fucking guy. And it creates a tension in them.
I'm surprised you don't. I know you have drunk. I'm surprised you don't swish your mouth and just breathe in their face heavily as the match starts, just to let them think like, oh my god.
Well, I mean, before the film match, people were looking at me in the corner thinking that was water in the cup. That was fucking vodka soda I was drinking.
Yeah.
Mat side.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. It's good. It's good for them in competition.
Do you think viewers appreciate the fact that most of our content is in jokes about what we've done the night before or the night after, and that they don't get to see or experience any of that? And so this is really just me and you jacking each other off for most of our...
I mean, pretty much. I consider myself a method actor. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to Mexico, I literally become Mexican.
Did you see Johnny Walker's like taking a DNA test and it's 22% African? And he's just dropping the M-bomb on Twitter every day
He's
now.
not Mike Perry mode.
Yeah. Mike Perry only got 2% though.
Too. And he's allowed to do it, but he's intimidating fella.
Mike's an interesting guy, you know. I've met Mike a few times. And the last time I met him, I remember being like, wow, he's really switched on. But then I remember the last time before that, I think he was threatening to eat a glass. So I'm not really sure like which one it is.
He's the best of both worlds, I'd say.
What is your life now like? Do you just do these things as a bit of fun to promote the DVDs and everything? Or are you doing this now to get Russian oligarchs to pay you to come over and just so they can experience what the whirlwind of Craig Jones is like?
That's true. That's true. I mean, if you got to put on a performance for the people, because if there is a rich person around the world, they've got to know what you're about. You know what I mean? If they're about the same things you're about, they know you're not joking. For the fans at home, they say, oh man, what a performance, what a comedian.
Yes.
Little do they know
Yes.
that it's 100% real. And that's me advertising for like-minded rich individuals.
Yeah. They can smell their own kind, essentially.
That's true. When you know, you know.
Yeah. Nose.
When you know, you know.
Yeah. Do you, I feel like your position is almost like everyone, you make jokes about how you're not the best rapper in the world and stuff like that, and your accolades are what they are, but I feel like you're probably the second or most well-known guy because of the extra stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the most well-known, maybe the second most well-known, but it's easy to appear charismatic and intelligent in a sport full of retards.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. How did you get involved with those guys? Like you sort of become when you're coaching or in the corner for like Alex or Izzy, and the matchup is mostly striking, do you just feel like a complete imposter, or how do you feel in the corner?
I mean, obviously not to the level of Zuck trying to hold the clothing, but I do feel up there. You know what I mean? But I yell out the time. You know, that's very useful thing.
What was he like?
You know, I think you expect him to be so much more awkward than he is, so that when you meet him, you think he's actually a smoother individual. You know, you're expecting a robot. What you get is a high-functioning individual.
Mm-hmm. How was the handshakes? I think you said you had.
We messed him up a few times, but I mean that could have been me too. But we had 4 attempts. Not one of them went the way I planned.
Yeah. Did you grappled with Logan Paul, didn't you?
Yes.
What was that like?
That was pretty fun. We trained with him in Puerto Rico. First, Walt trained with him, then Izzy trained with him, and he was about to go into cardiac arrest, and that's when I jumped in.
That's when you catch him.
That's when I do my best work.
Have you been? I don't know if you're obviously like an MMA fan. Do you watch any boxing at all?
Little bit. If it's a big fight.
Have you seen any of this Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney stuff this week?
When is that? Is that this weekend?
No, it's on April 20th.
Oh. I'll be in Dubai.
Yeah, but the press conference and stuff. Ryan Garcia was accused of taking cocaine, and he said he's never done that, as his nose was like twitching like a hamster smelling the air. He said he just drinks and smokes, but he...
What's your professional opinion?
As
You
some,
told me if you know, you know.
as someone who's seen you in action, I'd say Ryan's shades weren't to look cool. They were to hide some people. Also sweating profusely.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big sweater, but that could also be the steroids, you know.
Well, and the blood pressure now.
The Vyvanse, the Adderall medication.
Have you checked the blood pressure since you came down?
We should have done that today.
Yeah.
We should have had that as a prop.
Just to see, and then the
Although
alarm.
now it might be a little higher, to be honest.
Yeah. I wonder if Fight Pass tests you for that.
I hope not.
Yeah, because you won't be getting on their platform.
You know you're in trouble if the Mexican doctor
Yeah.
at a karate combat event is concerned about your blood pressure and obviously still lets you in. A real American, by-the-book doctor. It's going to be tough.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't feel like you get in the pit if you weren't in Mexico.
That's true. That's true. We'll find out. I don't think they've ever taken my blood pressure before. They took it in Polaris in London one time and were deeply concerned, but nothing.
Is it just the steroids, you think? Or is it
Just
just...
the high stress lifestyle I live.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm dealing with a lot of anxiety at all times.
That's kind of weird, really, because I was trying to think, like, could it be this, could it be that? And then I realized there's actually just no downtime for your body at all. So it's like...
I'm always just thriving in the trenches.
Your heart just
In the pit.
begging for mercy at all times.
But I'll never concede, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not a quitter.
It's nice that you've just sort of acknowledged the fact you're going to die early. You're like a pro wrestler in the 80s.
That's true. I'm trying to squeeze it all in.
Yeah.
Squeeze it all in.
That's yeah, that's very good. It's great because I feel like I can just throw questions at you and then they're just gone after 30 seconds and we're back on gay jokes and coke
Dude,
jokes.
you should have seen when we came here for UFC media. They couldn't get a single serious thing out of me.
Yeah.
They were just fucking mind blowing. They were
Yeah.
like, we can't use any of this.
Yeah, he's an enigma. Who is Craig Jones? No one knows.
They never cut me off either because the start of the answer would be serious.
Yeah.
And then it would go back to
Is
a
this
gay
the
joke.
trick? Is it? You just sort of bring it up and go, well, I've always thought that. Because I remember the only time I've ever had you serious is when, like, we'll talk about Volkanovski or Izzy's fights. Then you'll be serious, which is almost comical because you're not an MMA fighter. So it's like you're just some guy giving your opinion on it.
Critiques.
Yeah. I thought he could have opened up with a 1-2, but yeah. But it's cool, though. When are you going to be in Dan's, do you think?
I don't think so. I think just Volks now, and then I guess we'll see what happens. Depends who an opponent is, I guess, if I'm needed.
Yeah, I suppose if, like, Izzy's fighting Pereira, you probably...
I got a good left hook, you know?
Yeah.
That would be the best, though. If Lovato was up eating breakfast tomorrow, and I just roll in at 8 a.m. fucking barbecue.
Yeah.
I'm about, what time's the game, brother?
Do you think he would even understand what was going on?
Probably. Because usually, when I hit a certain level, my pupils are different sizes. He might be like, what has this man been doing?
Yeah. Do you think that would freak him out? This is where you're talking about giving them performance anxiety.
I mean, dude, it would. If my opponent just rolled in 8 a.m. smelling like strippers and drugs, I'd be like, this fucking guy doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He has no fear of me whatsoever.
What happens if you lose, bro?
What happens if I lose?
Yeah, like, are you going to be like, oh, fuck? Or would you just not care anymore?
It won't affect the performance, you know?
Yeah.
I think.
No, fair enough. I respect the...
I'll win the loss either way, but I feel good for this one. I feel pretty confident.
Do you think when's your next competition going to be karate combat?
Karate, yeah, back. I want to change the whole sport. The whole sport got angry because Keenan called it American Jiu-Jitsu instead of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I think, fuck, if I can make everyone call it ground karate, they're going to be really fucking offended.
Do I always get Australian? Everyone always accuses me of being Australian. Not accuses me. There's nothing wrong with being Australian. We just sent you over there.
You send the better individuals, the more handsome ones. Obviously, all the dentists.
You're certainly living up to the fact that you were convicts. You're like embracing that and running with it.
That's true. I am in fact convict blood.
I actually considered me and you doing an interview, getting a tattoo at the same time. I think we should probably
Something gay.
a puzzle piece like matching up. That's normal for two lads who've met about 4 times in their life.
A bag.
Sure. Why change the gimmick of a lifetime?